Hi, I'm taking part in a research study out of the University of California, Santa Barbara, or UCSB. I am tracking endangered giant sea bass, and when I say giant, I mean giant. They can grow up to 8 feet long and weigh 500 pounds. Here's a smaller one in the aquarium at Long Beach. These fish are only found on the west coast of California and Mexico. They are critically endangered because of overfishing. It is illegal to fish them now in California, so they are starting to come back. The thing is, we don't know how many of them are actually out there. That's where the UCSB study comes in. It's called Spotting Giant Sea Bass, and they're using citizen scientists like me. I'm on Catalina Island in Southern California. I'm searching for giant sea bass today, and they said this is the place where it's most likely to be found. I'm back from my first dive. The visibility was very poor. It was only like about 20 feet or so it was hard to see. We did not see any giant sea bass this time, but it was only our first dive out of 2, so we have another chance. The researchers realized that the spots on the side of the giant sea bass are different for every fish and can be used to identify individuals, like a fingerprint. All they need is a photo, so scuba divers like me can take pictures of any giant sea bass we see and submit them to the research study. This is after the second dive. I did not find any giant sea bass here, but it's April and it's a little bit early in the season, so I'll have to come back in June. I did see, though, a gigantic sea star and also a lot of sea cucumbers. It was a beautiful dive, but the visibility was also very poor, so it was hard to find them. I'm here on Catalina Island again. Yesterday I went scuba diving, but I did not find any giant sea bass, which makes sense because they're endangered. But in the meantime, let's talk to the scientists.
Ostensibly, I run the lab. It's called the Love Lab for my last name, but Mary is actually the brains of the operation. I'm just the pretty face.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So anyway, if you guys have more questions, we're around, but
Awesome.
you actually came to talk to these fine people.
Yeah, we can take you our alcove.
We found that the best, like when we're taking pictures of giant sea bass, if you just swim straight at them, they'll be a little I mean, I would be a little weirded out too. but if you kind of like pretend like you don't care, you can mosey up pretty close to them. You know, you just play cool and you're like, get pretty close, don't look at them, and then you just kind of go, take a good picture, you're like, right on.
So if we do like a mock submission, so you go to report an encounter, you can click and drag your image in there, and we'll just do whatever today's date is. And then you fill in your contact info, and the email is kind of fun because you'll be emailed again in the future if your fish is seen.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's like, we saw Jim again. 3 years later, you'll get an email, and it'll tell you where he was and who saw him, basically.
It's just a neat way to continue keeping people excited,
Yeah,
keeping people engaged and kind of into it.
The researchers take the photos submitted and put a dot on each spot of the fish. Then the computer compares the triangles and patterns made by the dots to other photos of the study.
This is the fraction matched triangles. So this would be 45.6% of the triangles matched. There's like a small amount of variation where you put the spots, or the slight angle of the fish, or the curvature of the glass at the aquarium, all those kinds of things. There was a genetics paper that was released a while ago that was saying that the estimated breeding population was 500 individuals. But since that's been released, it's kind of been, like, the scientific community has kind of gone, okay, well, that was nice. We think there's more. I think somewhere in the thousands of fish is most likely where we're at.
Hi, I'm back at Catalina, and I found so many giant sea bass. There was this one point when we were around 59 feet, and we were surrounded by 4 different giant sea bass. They were amazing. I was following one, and I turned around and there were 3 others kind of facing me. I was so surprised. It was beautiful. We recently took this picture of a giant sea bass, and we're going to submit it to the research study. You have to drag the picture into the website. And then you put in the date that you saw the giant sea bass so they know how recent it's been. Third, you have to put in the location you're at. So if they saw it in one place and then another picture they submitted and it's in another, they can tell that it's migrated from point A to point B. Success!